Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being with me and thank you for being here on a Friday afternoon. I do want to start off with what Riza is saying and really acknowledge and thank our admins and the people that work so hard behind the scenes to make, to make Sparkster the success it is. They're not paid. They're doing this voluntarily, and they dedicate a lot of time and effort and love to the Sparkster community. So there's many of them, and you all know them. So I'm not going to individually pick anyone out, but they all work incredibly hard and do a great job. So absolutely, I think we should definitely acknowledge them. So thank you from me, and thank you for the team. And I think from so thank you from me, and thank you for the team. And I think from the community too, I think that they're appreciative. So how is everyone doing? How is the week, and how are things? For me, it's been a very busy week. It's been a very busy 2 weeks, actually. We've got a lot going on, but with preparing for the ARM conference next week, we've got the demo to put together. We've got the presentation to put together. We've got meetings that we're lining up and networking that we're trying to schedule. And so there's a lot going on. It's been a very busy week, on top of everything else, that we've got going on. But yeah, I'm tremendously excited to be going to California next week. I'm a little bit anxious because I haven't yet received my passport back from the US Embassy. So I've reached out to them to hopefully speed that up, and hopefully Monday or Tuesday I get my passport back. But I'm flying Tuesday, so hopefully Monday or Monday morning I get my Tuesday morning I get my passport back. But nonetheless, I'm excited. It's going to be a hell of a conference and a hell of an opportunity for us too, right? Because we're speaking to executives of many large companies that will be in the audience. We're going to be showing a product that we've never shown publicly before, something that we call Device Factory, which is really the product that we built for ARM. And it allows people to build IoT devices without writing code. And this is important when people are prototyping and they're putting things together and they want to demonstrate solutions. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So we're going to show, essentially how ARM fits into Sparkster's perspective on making everything accessible, making everything quick and easy and pain-free, meaning code-free. So yeah, that's a new product that we're going to be showing. Well, it's not new. It's something that we have had in our armada for some time, but it's not a product that we've shown publicly. It's only a product that really, if you're part of the ARM ecosystem, or if you're ARM yourselves, or some customers that we've spoken with inside of ARM, that you may have seen. But it is the product that the kids are using on our YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel and have a look at the kids video in the list of demos, I think it's called, the playlist, you'll see one that's got some kids in there, and they're using that product. So you'll get to see that for the first time. I believe there's a question about, I think I saw a question about whether we're going to be filming the event. Absolutely, we're going to be filming the event. We're going to bring the event. I don't think we can bring the event live, although we will try. But we'll certainly be filming it and putting it, making it available to you. And while we're there, I think it'll be a good opportunity for us to do some clips and and so forth. So let's see what we can put together. So let's jump to some questions. Would I like to thank the admins for good work? Absolutely, yes, I would. This is the question. Can we have a video of the presentation at ARM next week? Yes, we can. Right. What are the names of the companies I've started? So one of them is called Printerpix, another one's called Click Inks, another one's called, they're all related in some capacity. One of them's called 999 Inks. Another one's called Office Saints. So they're kind of related, if you will. But collectively, the businesses in aggregate generate more than $50 million in revenue. The photo business Printerpix serves people in 19 different countries. That business alone ships more than 2 million packages a year. We're reducing, those businesses are reducing their exposure to manufacturing. So we used to do a lot of our own manufacturing, and now we're doing less. It's not that we've exited manufacturing fully. We still have to manufacture some items, but we're doing less. So, for example, the manufacturing plants, and they're big. The one in the States is 35,000 square feet. The one that's here is about 25,000 square feet in London. It's just outside of London. And those are facilities that I've personally designed. You know, I've been heavily involved, obviously, in building these businesses, and sometimes that involves doing things like designing manufacturing facilities. The software that runs in all of those, for example, the other businesses have distribution centers in the US and in the UK. I've designed all the software that runs in the distribution centers. I designed the distribution centers. I've designed all the software that runs in the factories. All that software interacts and integrates with the people, you know, who work in those companies. You know, they provide real-time visibility into things like, you know, how much inventory we have, which orders we have, which orders are being manufactured at what point in time, or, you know, so you've got real-time visibility into what's going on in the factories, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, so, you know, my background in terms of, maybe you guys don't know, so my background in terms of how I got here was that I was, you know, essentially not just building businesses, but heavily involved in building the nuts and bolts, the infrastructure of businesses. I've designed data centers. The data centers that our businesses use today are our own, and I designed those. So what I'm really saying is that, you know, I've been involved at a granular level in building these businesses, and how I ended up with Sparkster and why we built this no-code tool is because of the pains that I personally had in building these companies. And that is that, you know, you have a problem now, today, this minute, in a distribution center, on a factory floor, with a customer order. But you need to do something that the system, maybe there's rules in place that prevent you from, you know, servicing a customer to the best of the customers, you know, the best of your ability. There are rules in place that prevent you from doing that, obviously, in the system. Or what if those things could be changed real time, right? What if there were people that were empowered to be able to make decisions, to be able to route rules differently for different customers? Now, or for example, you know, we process so many orders during Christmas, it's unreal. And naturally, when you've got 4 or 5 times the volume in Christmas than other times in the year, different, you know, congestion and sorts of things can, you know, happen in the factory. Well, having to, you know, if you want to innovate a new way of doing something, and then going to a software development team can take weeks or months to get a solution to the factory floor, right? So this is one of the core reasons of why I think it's important to give the power of building software to the people that run the business, the people who are, you know, in charge of factory floors, in charge of production, in charge of, you know, distribution centers. Give them, make it simple enough, and give them the tools to be able to control what the business does. That's how you end up with the best customer service, you know. And sometimes, you know, we've had so many orders, millions of orders, that we've struggled to keep up, right, as a company. And so this is why I think that what we've built with Sparkster is such a big deal. Someone's asking, do I know about a device called Sphero? It's like Sparkster in combination with devices that learn kid how to code without knowledge. I'm not familiar with Sphero, no. But do feel free to send it over to me, and I'd like to take a look. People are asking about listing. So we've talked about listing a lot. The reality is that I don't think it's a good time to list, right? Look at what's happening there. There are tokens that have released in the last few weeks that are struggling. They've fallen below ICO price. There's just a lot of challenges. CZ, if I'm not mistaken, was speaking recently about the risks involved of listing tokens, and protecting their customers. At least that was what I understood from what he was saying. So I think that there's some real concerns at this point in time, and I think that that's I hope that things improve in the future, and I'm sure they will. So you guys would like to have a look around, okay? So there are essentially this is one office, but there are two different groups of people. So there's, people in design over this part of the office. This is really people in the development function. You've got people in the back over there that you can see that are essentially, working with operations and such in the data center and such. So, this is our Liverpool Street office. We have offices in India. We have offices in Orlando. We're considering opening offices in Los Angeles. That's Orlando, Florida, in the States. We're considering opening offices in Los Angeles. And we have offices in Bangalore, India. We have an office here in Liverpool Street in London. We also have an office in a place called Harrow, which is northwest London. So this is us. Any other questions that I might answer for you guys? When are we going to get exchanges like Binance? I think we've kind of answered that. Let's move on to the YouTube chat. Any questions here? Do we plan to list before mainnet no matter what? Well, I'd like to list before mainnet, absolutely. In fact, if it was in my control, we'd list now, but it isn't, unfortunately. I mean, the market conditions are not in my control, right? So I'd like to be able to list as soon as possible. We don't gain anything by holding tokens, if you will, right? But when it comes to mainnet, as you know, we're very, very, very hard at work on mainnet. We're expecting to deliver on time. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. And I want to be able to unlock as soon as we possibly can. What's the status of the Coinbase application? So I mentioned this in the previous discussion, if you will. I think it was last week's AMA, that there's certain things that, so I should say that we're very lucky that Coinbase have provided the selection criteria of kind of what they're looking for. And there's some things that today we may not be able to meet, right? And it's not that we don't have, it's not that, they're things we can't do, they're just things we don't have today. So we're going to take the time to do the application right and get those things available. An example is, publicly visible bug bounties. I think they're keen on the code being public, and that's not going to happen until closer to the unlock. So rather than rushing the Coinbase application, it's probably best that we do things correctly, meet their requirements so that we have a good chance of being listed. But I do think that I don't really think there's a rush. I think that they're going to be rolling out tokens, and they've probably got a list they've selected. I would imagine that they're going to come from the top 50 to begin with. And then once they've got those done, I think they'll begin considering applications. Well, let's submit our application and maybe be close to the top of the stack at that point in time. Are we still holding news? Do Signals is asking, are we still holding news and partnerships to release after the exchange listing? Yeah, we are. We've got partnerships. We've got, well, I don't want to give it away. Let's just say we've got partnerships that we'll be announcing closer to unlock and after unlock, because I think that that's where we get the most value from it. Some people have asked us, well, why aren't we doing marketing in this period of time? I think that it wouldn't be particularly effective for us to do marketing in this particular period of time, because there's nothing that people can act upon, right? A lot of people have heard about Sparkster, and I think that we've done a lot to change people's opinions about us. But for new people that haven't heard about us, let's kind of speak to them when they can act upon the knowledge that they gain or the introduction they receive to Sparkster, right? And that would be, when we're imminent or close to unlock, or at least we feel like the market's in a condition where, unlock is very close to happening. Am I personally going to buy Sparkster when it hits exchanges? I've thought about that. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea for me to be buying Sparkster. I can tell you that as a company, if the price falls meaningfully, we're going to be buying. Because it'll be severely undervalued. Even at 15 cents, if mainnet is live, it's undervalued, right? When does the bounty end? We're still deciding what to do with the bounty, to be honest with you. We've got so many things that we've got on our plate that it's one of those things that we're not getting to yet. We are kind of stretched, so bear with us, though. We'll come back to you on this. Is the crypto market finished? No, far from it. Far from it. It's a very good question, actually, and I appreciate you guys willing to be interested, being interested in my opinion on this subject. I don't think the crypto market's finished at all. I think that this is crypto 1.0, and I think that there'll be a crypto 2.0. Maybe that's security tokens. I don't know. But I think that, can we put this funding model back in the box? Can you say that individuals like all of us here, should be prevented from participating in the success of a company? I don't think you can put that back in the box. It's like saying, when the internet crashed, is the internet dead? No, the internet was meaningful and valuable. If there were people, if there are people creating meaningful and valuable, businesses, and you guys can participate in the success of those businesses, then why would it not make sense to get people to participate, right, in those businesses? So no, I don't think this is the end of crypto. I think that we'll go through a revolution, and I think regulation is going to be necessary if we're going to have a pathway of going from being able to invest in a company in its seed stage and then being able to participate in it longer term and its longer term success. Gabby, thank you for your support. I appreciate that. If the market doesn't unlock before mainnet, will you still unlock? It's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate on what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. I'd rather get there, and then we can talk about it as a community and figure out what's the best thing to do. What's this overall sentiment? You know, let's see. November could be pivotal, right? And I hope it is. I hope that November is the turnaround point. What do I think about tonight's game between Croatia and England? I'll be honest with you, right? I wish I had more time to follow things like football. I just don't. So I don't have an opinion on the subject. When will Sparkster be available in exchanges? Hopefully soon, but unfortunately not yet. If I'm not mistaken, you might be new to our group. Ronak, thank you for your support. Okay, so I've not seen too many questions. There was a question that Patrick put through in Telegram, and he asked about what our plans are for 2019 and beyond. And I'll also address briefly a question that I received essentially about token utility. But I want to do that briefly because I want to elaborate in a tech talk. So let's talk about 2019 and beyond. I think that the key. So if I were to categorize what our plans are, 2018 is the year of development. It's the year where we're building the decentralized cloud. 2019 is the year of adoption, right? And adoption isn't. Firstly, the thing about adoption is that there's phases to adoption. The first phase of adoption is that people begin to accept the vision or the thoughts that you're sharing with them. So this Tech Tuesday, I believe, we talked about thought leadership and our methodology of creating customer adoption or our strategy for marketing, if you will. And one of the components of that was thought leadership. So the first step is getting people to see and think, right, that there is an alternative to traditional cloud computing, and that's decentralized. And what are the benefits of it, and why is this cloud computing 2.0? So that's really what thought leadership is. But what we really want to see come out of that thought leadership, what we want to see come out of the conferences that we attend and the partnerships that we engage with, is we want to see pilots. We want to see that this company is going to be piloting something with us on Sparkster's decentralized cloud. And if I was you guys and I was looking at what's going on externally, maybe there's some projects that are talking about they're on the road to adoption, right? Well, then they should be able to demonstrate or show some PR release about a pilot. We worked with this company and we're piloting this technology. We are actively today, even right now, working on finding opportunities that we might be able to pilot our technology with. So one is thought leadership, two is pilots. Now, combining a pilot with thought leadership is what's needed for the first wave of customers, right? Because they want to see that they're not the only people that are trying this out. So you've got, there's something called the S curve of innovation, S for sugar, because it looks like an S. And the first customers are called innovators. They're your innovative customers. You guys would all be considered to be innovators because you're innovative adopters of crypto, right? So you're part of that. You're that type of person, right? So imagine someone like you, but in the business world, those types of companies. Now, they may not be the biggest companies that you pilot with, and that doesn't matter. What matters is there's someone who's willing to build something with you, and it's generally with you because they don't really know your technology. And then you take what you've built with them and you're able to write a report that shows, we did this, we did that, here are the outcomes, here are the benefits. So we can then couple the thought leadership with real world evidence, right? And then that leads to your first wave of customers, real customers. Your pilots you might not get paid for, but your customers will, they have a problem and they'll want to solve that problem with your technology. And that's the steps in achieving mainstream adoption, right? So what are we going to be focused on in the first part of 2019? It's pilots. Where can we get into pilots? What are the opportunities? Who's interested in piloting decentralized cloud technology? But I've also talked about and so forth, right? I've also talked about how an industry is built, is not built by one person or one company. An industry is built by many people, and so some people have talked about Dfinity, right? And what I think is that, look, if we're out there and we're known to be people that are spreading the message about decentralized cloud computing, and we're waving the banner of decentralized cloud computing, if they hear about decentralized cloud computing through Dfinity's marketing efforts, right? Not our marketing efforts, let's say. Dfinity is going to be spending, some of their big hoard on marketing. The first thing you do is you find out, okay, well, who else is talking about decentralized cloud computing? And if in that process they discover Sparkster, then, through their marketing dollars, we've found our way into an opportunity, right? As a smaller entity, much smaller than Dfinity, we have to employ these sorts of guerrilla marketing tactics. These are some of the things that we're working on planning with, for example, our PR agency. Updates on the PR agency, as I'm sure you guys want. We're still meeting with PR agencies, the 6 that we're meeting with, that they're pitching to us on. But there's one that I really like, as you know, and I told you about them. I think it was in last week's AMA. I met them again this week in their offices, and we had a wonderful chat about who the customer is and why I think that that's the customer, and how we can, most importantly, right? It's not what I think that matters. It's about validating my assumptions, validating my thoughts in terms of those target customers. And I don't want to get in too much detail about this because I don't want to give this away to maybe some competition that might be watching these videos. But in effect, people that might be, interested in who those customers might be that would be interested in how we can help them in their lives, essentially, with our technology. So we're going to be beginning some test marketing campaigns very soon, I would say in the next several weeks, in the next, let's say, 3 weeks, that will allow us to validate some of those questions and validate some of those assumptions that we're making as we begin this road to using PR and other marketing methods to acquire customers for the product. Okay, I'm conscious of time. We've spent 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes on this call. I did want to touch. We've got, I guess, 2 minutes left. I'll touch very briefly on token utility, but I am going to cover this in a lot of depth, I suppose, in the next tech talk, which will not be next week because I'll be flying. Hopefully, I'll be flying next Tuesday. So it will be the week after. But I was asked about token utility and how, the customers of our platform and the customers of the cloud will increase the number of transactions on exchanges for our token. So the platform itself, the no-code platform, you can create things and other people can create things and make them available or sell them on Sparkster's marketplace. That's a component of the platform. And so when you buy and sell something, you buy and sell a component of software or maybe a solution for something on the marketplace, you're going to be doing that in Sparkster tokens. So this is one way in which people will be using the token, and buying and trading tokens and creating demand for the token that's independent of what's going on elsewhere, right? And so, for example, there are, I don't want to give too much away, but let's say that there is people who are building solutions for a particular vertical market, a particular industry, right? And those people that are building those things for a particular industry, when they're selling those things to their customers, they'll be doing that in our tokens. They'll be essentially selling their vertical market solution, maybe for the healthcare industry, maybe for the insurance industry, maybe for the automotive industry, whatever it might be. That solution they've built will be sold in our tokens, right? The second utility, obviously, is the cloud. And so when people want to buy cloud services, they want to run their software on Sparkster's decentralized cloud. They want to host their images, or they want to store their data. They want to use Sparkster's decentralized cloud. They're going to pay for those services in tokens. And remember, or hopefully many of you remember, that those tokens are not, those services are not, the price of them is not determined by us. It's not that you're going to go to ETH gas station and say, what's the gas price today? And how much gas am I going to use, and so forth, right? In the sense that if you contribute your device, you might charge 5 Spark for the use of your device, right? Somebody else might charge 3 Spark for the use of their device. The company may be willing to pay, 4 Spark for the use of a device. And so much like an exchange, when there's, bids and asks, you bring them together and you get people trading. This is the same thing that's going to happen. So what I'm really saying is that when people want to use, the Sparkster decentralized cloud, they're going to have to pay in Spark tokens, and you will be, you as a device owner will be, you'll be rewarded in Spark tokens. So that's it for today. Thank you everyone for your time. Hopefully I'll be seeing you guys next week from California. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you back in the Telegram group. Take care.